it seems like a lot more young people, young people your age, is experiencing more of this, but not realizing that this is in fact stressful.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have anxiety or, like feel anxious and kind of just stressed. I think some level of stress is almost like the norm now. And some
Yeah.
level of stress, this is also something that I think it's almost kind of in what I'm seeing culturally, where it's almost like stressing about things is celebrated, or stressing about things is somehow virtuous, and if you're very busy or if you don't sleep enough at night. And it's just little things
Yeah.
like that where where it's like, if you, I don't know, maybe it's like if you're pushing hard, or yeah, like I think there's almost some kind of yeah, like like appeal to this. But I think this is our I think it's very common in like the culture that I'm in, and with people my age. I think like stress and anxiety is very normalized. And I think that it is helpful that people are talking about mental illness a lot more, talking about anxiety and depression. But yeah, I think that it's definitely it's definitely not good. A lot of people are anxious. A lot of people are depressed. Um and I think that, yeah, like there still is that huge um I think it's a huge problem that people like don't think that they should be feeling this way, but they are feeling like even for something that seems minor, like being lonely. Like loneliness in today's world, like a lot of people feel disconnected from other people, even though we have social media. And I think that was like, I think that was one of the major things that contributed to my depression, is just isolation. And maybe it's not just isolation. Maybe that does have a much larger impact on us than we
Yeah.
realize,
Yeah.
and or that we want it to have. I think we think that we should be fine, or we should be, we have friends, or we can find friends, or we have social media, or we should feel like we have enough. But I think that's one major thing I see, that people are saying that, or people think that, oh no, I should be okay, or I should feel like I have enough, or I am kind of surrounded by people, but I still don't feel like I'm really connecting. Maybe it's an issue like that. And people just don't know what to do, because they don't feel okay, but then they feel like they should feel okay. And I think that it's, with the lockdown, I think it
Yeah.
has gotten a lot worse. But I think that a huge part is like a huge first step is being able to recognize that, like, no matter how small these experiences you're having are, like, no matter how small they seem, like in your head, how, like, what you think you should feel about these things, I think it's really important to recognize your actual experience. And I think that, like, in this book, he does talk about like connecting those two sides of it, the emotional and like your narrative picture of it, or like the mental part of it, like the emotional, mental, being able to like understand that these emotions that you're feeling, this negative emotion that you're feeling, there's a reason for it. And the answer is not to just say that, oh, I shouldn't be feeling like this, so I'll shrug it away, or just to push it down. Because I think all of these instances where we feel a negative emotion, especially if it keeps coming back up, it's a sign that our body or our brain is telling us that, oh, there's something wrong here. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's totally okay to feel like this. And I think it's so important to think about it, and to actually be able to see it and confront it, accept it for what it is, and then to
Yeah.
be able
Yeah.
to dig deeper into what could be going on.
Yeah, that constant feeling of this social stress, whether it's from isolation or rejection or feeling like nobody want to connect with you. Yeah, it's actually pretty serious. I it was just recently as going through Dr. Amen's one of the newer book, Your Brain is Always Listening, right? He's talking about the dragons of these, I guess, that does the emotional damage, mental damage. But he was talking about how just with the lockdown, the isolation, I think he wrote the book in the I think it was released in the mid 20s, not 2020, middle of 2020. And so that was just, he just mentioned, I think it's just a month or two after the lockdown, and already the prescriptions for psychological difficulties went up like 30-40%, 30 something percent.
Yeah.
Just within that first month or two. Yeah, so it's pretty significant. But then it is our brain telling us there's something wrong. So it's trying to give us signals, right? I also remember this book called, I think it's called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. Because animals don't, they only experience these kind of high stress, and their body responds with these high stress when there is real physical danger, when they're being chased by a lion, right? But the second they got away and the lion got tired and just gave up and left, they just kind of shake and then shake it off, and then that's it. They return to normal, right? Low stress. But we are not like that right now. We are constantly being bombarded with stress. So our brain is trying to respond to that constant stress, which I think your generation is feeling a lot more of it, but it's not necessarily given ways to address that. I feel.